Now, add supporting details to the following phrases. My cat is crazy. How would you add supporting details to my cat is crazy? Maybe you have a crazy cat yourself.
How would you support that?
You could name that cat. You could name the cat.
You could, sorry?
You could name the cat.
You could name the cat. Very good. So you could say, Snowball, my cat is crazy. You could also say, Snowball, my cat is crazy because she will climb onto your head, then start scratching and pooping on it. And you would want to add details to show why the cat is crazy. So, do any of you have a cat? Do any of you have a cat?
Do you have a cat?
Oh, wow, lots of cats. Okay, so when your cat is crazy, what are they doing?
Crazy things do they do?
They attacked my rug.
They attacked the rug. Okay, so you could say, my cat is crazy or when she starts scratching the rug as though it were a menacing creature trying to eat her. Not much eats cats, actually. But what else do they do when they're crazy? You could add as a supporting detail.
They can hiss.
They hiss. Okay, so when she hisses and scratches the rug. You could think of many supporting details for my cat is crazy. Think about what your cat does when it's crazy. Thinking about what a cat might do if it's crazy. The casserole was disgusting. Have any of you eaten disgusting food before? I think I should see every hand raised. Maybe not your parents' food, but I'm sure that you've eaten some food that's been disgusting. How would you support the casserole was disgusting? What is a supporting detail you could add to that?
The casserole my mom cooks.
Why?
The casserole my mom cooks.
Okay, you could add a detail about where the casserole came from. The casserole my mom cooks is disgusting because she throws all of the leftovers from the fridge inside, plus some pickled fermented tofu that has been sitting unrefrigerated for 2 years.
That would make it disgusting.
Yeah. Plus eggs that have been marinating in duck urine. Okay, so that was really random. That's too gross. Sorry. My room is messy. Do any of you have kind of messy rooms? I sort of.
Messy room?
Yeah. So what makes your room so messy? What is a supporting detail you got? What makes that room so messy?
Clothes that lay on the floor.
Clothes strewn all over the floor. In mine, it's lots of books that aren't put away, and that also clothes too. But books aren't put away and lying around. Lots of different pieces of furniture around that are kind of things being stuffed into them, lots of debris. Okay, so when you hear supporting details, it's really not that hard to think of some. So you might think, okay, my cat's crazy. Then you want to think, why is my cat crazy? How is my cat crazy? Answer the who, what, when, how thing. I think I've gotten all the W's in there. So let's review our goals. What do we want to do in responding to a prompt? Well, here's something from the rubric, so that's what you're being graded on. Use language effectively by exhibiting word choices that are engaging and appropriate for intended audience and purpose. Sorry for the hard pop. So what that means, use language effectively by exhibiting word choices that are engaging and appropriate for intended audience and purpose. What does that mean? Well, we talked earlier a little bit about word choices. So, as they say, use language effectively by exhibiting word choices that are engaging and appropriate for intended audience and purpose. Right? So, what they mean is, don't say, Annie rode around on her BMX without explaining who Annie and the BMX and what a BMX is. So, appropriate for the audience and purpose means if you're trying to inform, not convince, then don't be saying you better do this with the call to action. It's informing and explaining, that would be expository. So, if your purpose is to persuade, then don't just be entertaining. You want to make sure that what you're doing is for that purpose, using the right words to do that. Write for your audience, explain who or what you are talking about, and define key terms. For example, Annie, my friend from down the street, rode around the corner on her BMX racing bike For dinner, we ate milanesa, the Mexican version of chicken fried steak. So, review activity, and I think we'll do this together. Weekends should be longer because blank blank blank. Look at the above prompt and decide what the purpose of the prompt is. So when you respond to weekends should be longer because, are you trying to persuade, entertain, inform, or explain? Weekends should be longer because, what is the purpose when you're responding to that prompt?
So we can sleep later.
The purpose, why are you writing? Are you going to persuade, entertain, or inform?
Persuade.
Persuade, very good. You're explaining why weekends should be longer and trying to persuade your audience that weekends should be longer. Very good. So now, what would you do if the audience was your teacher? What are the reasons you would come up with for weekends should be longer because? Let's say you were writing a letter to your teacher about why weekends should be longer. What are some of the reasons you would come up with?
So we can sleep longer.
So that we can sleep longer. So you might use your own welfare because teachers do care about kids. Another thing I'm thinking is that you would say to the teacher, well, you wouldn't have to work as much and it would give you a break from the hectic schedule of teaching. So you might want to think about your audience. If the audience is your teacher, you would use reasons that the teacher would like, and also your own benefit. You get to sleep in longer. So that would be one reason. What's another thing you would say if you're trying to convince your teacher that weekends should be longer?
So we don't have to go to school?
So that you don't have to go to school, maybe.
I'm trying to predict.
Well, you would also maybe want to think, well, the teachers want me to learn as much as possible. So you could talk about how you learn a lot outside of school on the weekends, but by being able to connect with your family and learning a lot from them. So you could talk about how you're still going to be learning, and then also they won't have to work as much, and you will be able to sleep in more, so you'll be healthier individuals. So those are some reasons you might use to try to convince your teacher. Now what about if you were trying to convince your little brother, little sister, or a pet? If you were responding to the prompt, trying to convince a little brother, little sister, or a pet that weekends should be longer, what would you say?
So we could play with them more.
So you could play with them more, probably so. Let's say if you were writing to your dog or cat, you would say, so I can play frisbee with you, so that I can take you to the park. With your little brother or sister, probably the same thing. So what's different about the two responses and why?
Because you're not really taking brothers and sisters to the park.
Would you say different things to each audience?
Well, you're